The year of excellent wind support continues with Baroness de Fleur in Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm, which, as you might expect, has got a lot of wind cards in it. So these cards were revealed today, actually earlier today, and this is the one card that really stuck out to me. Naturally, of course, the big Synchro monster in the theme, but I think most importantly, a very, very good level 10 generic Synchro monster. That's a lot of boxes that we just checked off in that sentence. And it's something that we've been kind of waiting on for a long time. There are not a lot of level 10 Synchros that, one, don't require a specific tuner or non-tuner, or two, only require two materials, right? A lot of level 10 monsters require Synchro tuners, Synchro non-tuners, or just require a tuner plus two or more monsters. Or, again, more specific cards. This card doesn't. It puts it in a very special category of level 10 monsters, or level 10 Synchros, that you can summon just about anywhere. You can use a level 9 and a level 1 tuner. You can use an 8 and a 10. And we've all been in situations where we've thought, I wish there was a level 10 I could summon. There just isn't one. So I have these sort of awkward mismatched levels. Like if I want to play a level 2 tuner in something like Mech Knights, I'm kind of wanting to pair it with some of my level 8s. There's not really an option. And in fact, in the past, there have been plenty of cards that we've looked at, and we'll talk about those in just a bit, cards that have seen a lot of play pretty much because they were the only good level 10s in town. They're not even that good. So let's talk about what Baroness brings to the table. So 3,000 attack is of course solid, but it's that once per turn effect that it can target a card on the field and destroy it. That's really good aggression for a level 10 Synchro. Just like fairly solid. You make this thing, you pop a card. Very easy. And then its second effect reads, once while face up on the field, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So the key point here is that this only can trigger one time while that card is face up on the field. If you send it to the graveyard, summon it back, that condition resets. If you flip it face down, then flip summon it, that condition should reset. If you send it back to the extra deck and then resummon it, of course, that condition resets if you have multiple copies. You're still locked into using them once per turn, but theoretically, you can use one and then the next turn use another copy. That comes into play with the final effect once per turn during the standby phase, and key point here, either player's standby phase, you can return one level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard. Sorry, you can target one level 9 or lower monster in your graveyard, return this card, the Synchro, to the extra deck, and if you do, special summon that monster. This is pretty crazy, right? This last effect allows you to recycle it. On its own, I don't think maybe there's that many applications for it, but there are some decent level 9 targets depending on what deck you're playing it in, and granted, as level 10 Synchro, there's a good chance that you're adding a level 1 tuner into the mix. There are some good level 9s that are worth summoning, and we'll look at a couple of those very shortly. Of course, obviously this card itself is an upgrade of Chevalier de Fleur, which is okay. It's a level 8 that can negate spell and traps, but only during your opponent's turn. It's kind of weird. I remember being kind of hyped for it when it was initially revealed and it came out as a video game promo. Not so much hyped anymore. Anyways, let's talk about a couple of these cards. I'm going to bring this window right over here. All right. So let's talk about some of these other level 10s, right? Because, let me get that out of there. It's not actually a level 10, it's level 8. If you're not summoning this, what are you summoning, right? Are you summoning Ascension Sky Dragon, a card that doesn't really do anything except maybe summon back the materials that it was used to make it? Theoretically, you could use Time Lord Progenitor to knock out your opponent's field, but they eventually do get their cards back. Blood Rose Dragon's pretty sweet. You can banish out your opponent's entire graveyard. Not quite released yet, but it's pretty cool. That said, its negation effect requires you to tribute the monster. Not exactly ideal. We also have Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree. Leo itself is also an interesting one. This card actually did see a lot of competitive play back in the day because it couldn't be targeted. That made it pretty solid in an era where basically every effect out there was targeting. But in today's format, maybe not so much. That said, this is still a pretty good card if you're building out a level 10 Synchro toolbox. You can maybe see this card see play, but like I said, probably going to be playing Baroness in the future instead of this card whenever I can. Despot Jet, I kind of threw this in here because theoretically you could use its last effect like a Scrap Dragon, but yeah, you probably don't want to invest those kinds of monsters and materials into making this. And these are just really some of the only generic options that require one tuner plus a non-tuner. Almost all the rest of them require a lot more. So what are some level 9 options? I'm just kind of taking a quick glance at them. Immortal Phoenix Gearfried seems okay if you're already playing a bunch of equip spells and you're playing a deck already that has Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. You could potentially make an argument for playing this card. I think that's fine, right? You burn the negation effect of Baroness, and then you summon this. Now you have potentially more negations if you've got equip spells. But, and I think plenty of people have probably already made this point, generators seem like a great home for Baroness. This is a card that has a lot of potential as a standby phase, recur your generator cards, which, let's face it, a lot of them have quick effects anyways. So, of course, you could bring back something like Mardell and get a search. It seems pretty solid. But I think generally, Baroness is just a solid Synchro monster to add to your arsenal. We'll see what kind of play it sees in the future, obviously, but for now, just taking a quick look at it, I mean, it's got a one-time negation effect, it's got a pretty stacked attack stat, and it's got a decent aggressive effect. It doesn't have to use right away when it's summoned. It's pretty solid. It's a pretty solid card, and that's sort of rare to see among level 10 Synchros, and I think that's the bigger story here. It's just a solid monster. So hopefully this doesn't get lost in all the other news. I didn't see quite as many people talking about this as I did see them talking about the other cards. There's been a lot of reveals this week, though, so I don't blame anyone for sort of missing anything. So let me know what you guys think about this card. Any other potential applications that I missed. I'm sure there are plenty out there. And thank you guys for watching. And until next time, then.